Fatigue can also, like everything else in MS, can be caused by other things. So it can be caused by deconditioning and being out of shape. I'll back up just a minute. So in MS, why do people have fatigue? And we don't really know the answer to that, but it's a disease symptom. And some people think that it's caused by the inflammation in the brain. So just the presence of the immune system in the brain and the sort of chronic increased level of cytokines in the brain cause fatigue. And there's another theory that the reason that you're fatigued is because you have brain damage. And so your brain can get around a lot of damage, but it's like having to drive around if there are a lot of detours. So you can still get around, but it takes more gas to do that. So people get fatigued because it just takes more energy to get through the changes in your brain. And then there's another theory that people who have MS fatigue don't metabolize glucose as effectively. Apparently there's a 10 to 20% reduction in glucose metabolism. And glucose provides the brain with fuel. So there's another theory that you just don't have as much fuel and that's why you get fatigue. But other things can cause fatigue as well and contribute to the regular MS fatigue. And being out of shape is one of them, deconditioning. If you have physical limitations and you're not honoring them, then it can be harder for you to do things. So if you have trouble walking, but you're not going to use a cane or you're not going to use an assistive device, or if you have trouble negotiating the stairs but you can't move the washing machine upstairs, it will take you more energy to do things. So physical limitations can actually contribute to your fatigue. Sleeping problems, we don't need to talk anymore about that, but sleeping problems, if you're not sleeping, you're probably going to be more tired. Depression and anxiety can contribute to fatigue. Medications can cause fatigue. Medications that are sedating will make you more tired, and that will contribute to fatigue. If you're not eating well, if you have inadequate nutrition, if you're getting 600 calories a day chronically, you're probably going to be tired. And sometimes people, this sounds odd, but it's true. It sounds odd to me because I have never forgotten to eat, but some people forget to eat. They just get distracted and they don't think about eating. And other physical problems can cause fatigue. Thyroid disease is a classic thing that can cause disease. If you're hypothyroid, you can have a lot of fatigue. Fatigue can accompany exacerbations. I stress that because I think sometimes people don't know that. But sometimes cognitive problems and fatigue can be the only symptoms that someone is having of an exacerbation, of a patient like that. So how do you treat fatigue? It depends on what's causing it, and that can be a tricky thing to figure out. So that's something you really have to go through with your healthcare provider. A lot of things contribute to fatigue. So, the general strategy for treating fatigue is if you've got a problem that you can solve, like it's just too much energy to do the laundry, see if you can move the washing machine upstairs, or see if you can get a cane, or figure out why you're having trouble sleeping and take care of those problems. But it's not always straightforward. A lot of the treatments for fatigue require kind of behavioral interventions. And what I mean by that is sometimes people don't do things that would make life easier with MS because they don't want to give in to the disease. I see heads nodding. So sometimes people won't do this or won't do that because they don't want to give in to MS. And that somehow if you use a cane or if you move the washing machine, I don't know why moving the washing machine upstairs is such a big deal, but it is. And people don't want to do that because they don't want to give in to their MS. Kind of trying to figure out what kind of battle you're fighting here, and is an important thing sometimes to untangle. And I think, and I want to be respectful here, we all have things that are important to us, and we all have things, we all have ditches that we will die in, so things that we will or won't do. So it's important for us to be respectful, but, I have never, almost everybody I know has a dishwasher. And almost everybody I know uses the dishwasher. And almost everybody I know can also wash dishes by hand. But almost everybody I know puts them in the dishwasher instead. And I have never heard anybody say, I've been giving into the dishwasher. They don't say that. They say, oh God, it's so great to have a dishwasher. I'm really glad I have a dishwasher. So it's just sort of an interesting thing about giving into MS and what that really means. But anyway, so when you think about behavioral interventions, what you want to, sort of the whole strategy for dealing with treating fatigue is you want to use less energy and you want to make more energy, one or the other. If you're thinking about, for example, managing your finances, it's easier for people to think about managing finances. But if you wanted to save money, you would look at your income and you would say either I need more income or I need less outgo. But that's how you think about it. So you get rid of certain things if you were thinking about less outgo. You say, I get rid of the Starbucks, get rid of Netflix, I don't know, get the cheap cable and take the bus. Okay, so you reduce outgo, so you have more money at the end of the month. And it's a similar thing with thinking about how you use your energy with MS. But it's amazingly difficult for people to do that sometimes. To think about ordering the Thanksgiving dinner from the supermarket instead of cooking it yourself. There are a lot of changes that people can make that do save energy, but they're hard to make. So I don't want to be flippant about this. I think it's an important thing for people to work their way through, but you can save a lot of energy by making some changes. So making more energy. You've heard this, and I won't go into it in work, but exercise is the best way to make more energy. And people who exercise regularly tend to have more energy. So figuring out, when you're really fatigued, it's hard to think that that's going to help at all, but actually it does. Getting an exercise regimen that you can do and live with that doesn't make you more tired is something that you can work with a professional about if you're having trouble setting one up, but exercise is really an excellent idea. Medications can be helpful for treating fatigue, and they are used commonly to treat fatigue. I don't personally think that that's the best place to start. Because sometimes, if people haven't made some behavioral changes and you give them something like Provigil, which can be quite helpful, it just gives them license to run themselves into the ground instead of making some changes. So, but there are medications, and your healthcare provider can talk to you about what the medications are. So, moving on to depression. So if you look at all the studies, and I have, on what affects quality of life with MS, surprisingly, it's not physical disability that's the biggest predictor of reduced quality of life. The biggest single predictor of reduced quality of life in MS is depression. Now, depression is kind of, in my opinion, a garbage can term. Everybody uses it, and it means something different to everybody who uses it. But depression occurs, let's say, 5% of the general population, but it occurs probably in 60% of the MS population. So, there's pretty good evidence that that depression can be an actual symptom of the disease caused by the presence of the immune system in the brain. And so some amount of depression in MS, mood disturbance in MS, is caused by the MS itself. Depression can be secondary to medication. Some of the disease-modifying therapies, particularly the interferons, can cause depression, but other medications can too. And certainly, you can have a kind of depression that's secondary to dealing and living with a chronic illness. And of course, depression can be intensified if you're really tired. So I don't think depression is one single thing, and I think sometimes depression is a big biological thing. And so if you have a depression secondary to, for example, a medication that you're on and you go off of the medication, sometimes you get remarkable improvement. And I think I'm not going to go into all of the symptoms of depression because I think most everybody in the world knows what those are. Mood disturbance, poor concentration, suicidal thoughts, sadness, blah, blah, blah. When people have that kind of depression, in my experience, they know it.